and is a world-class athlete in judo. At the age of 13, she was one of the youngest children in the former Soviet Union to receive a black belt. Hear that, Tim? Competing for her country, she won several championships, represented Bulgaria. Between 1987 and 97, she clinched 4 Bulgarian National Championships and earned 4 silver medals internationally. In 2004, she transitioned from athletics to modeling after moving to Puerto Rico. This new path led her to Florida in 2007, where she built a successful career as a print model. She is fluent in Spanish, which was helpful in the Miami acting scene, and she made multiple appearances in telenovelas and other Latin American TV programs. She caught the acting bug in Miami and relocated to Los Angeles in 2013. And since then have acted on stage, screened, on voiceover work, and multiple TV commercials. She is established as a successful print and fitness model. Drawing on her background as a world-class athlete, she specialized in personal training and mixed martial arts. She regularly volunteers at women's domestic violence shelters in Los Angeles to teach self-defense. In 2023, at the peak of her fitness career, preparing for competition, she received the devastating news that she had breast cancer. Her whole world shifted at that time. Despite the setback, I'm skipping through some of this, and I'm going to add this. She finished her cancer treatment in August last year, and in September, started the launch of Blossoming Beyond, which is a cancer survivor documentary feature film, and establishing a nonprofit foundation to support breast cancer survivors. Really, Galina is the reason that I went in for this mammogram. It just was kind of a wake-up call for me. Her participation in the Miss Health and Fitness competition began in May 2024 and is particularly significant as she returns to the same event that she was training for when she was diagnosed with breast cancer the year before. Her comeback symbolizes the profound journey of blossoming beyond. And I will leave it there, and just with such appreciation, thank you so much for presenting to us, Galina, my dear friend. Love you.
Oh my God, you make me cry, and then I have to touch up my makeup because this is recording. Thank you so much, Mary Grace, for inviting me to be here in front of you guys, incredible people, and just to have the honor to talk in front of you about my journey. And Mary Grace, I mean, I'm forever grateful to you. Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And congratulations on being negative on your results. This is a great news, and I'm so happy that you went and you check. Yes. This is my whole advocacy for just listen to one's body, listen to your body, go and check. Even if it's a bad news, it doesn't matter. It's better to cut it on time than later to sorry that you didn't even check. But so Mary Grace already talk about my background, where I come from, so I'm not gonna go there. But yes, last year when I was going to my competition for fitness modeling, but it was bigger. It was the cover of the magazine was in LA. So I was training very hard, and I was in the best shape of my life. And 3 days later, I was a cancer patient. So it really kind of shifted my perspective of everything what was happening in my life. And it was really hard. I went in a very dark place, and I just couldn't see the lights at all. I sat in my car for 3 hours because I had no one to call. My family is in Bulgaria. I was here by myself, and I didn't know what to do next. It was really a really tough time. However, I came on to the other side. I found the light. It was not easy, but while I was going through the whole process of of this journey, cancer, I say cancer experience, I'm calling the experience, it just really taught me how important is to take care of our mental health. And I didn't have access to that for the first 5 months, just because no one told me that it was available for me when I was going through my journey. And they actually, after the first tumor, they called me that they found another tumor. So I had to do several surgeries and treatment. And I was misdiagnosed a year prior my diagnosis. So I was just so confused in my head. I had so many questions and I had no answers. And I've realized how important it is to talk to someone, but not to your spouse or friends, to someone who is just specialized in that, what you're going through. And I didn't have that opportunity for the first 5 months. And then when I actually was available to get it, everything changed for me. Everything. My social worker just, she's actually seen my film too. She just helped me so much through the journey until the end. So that's the reason that prompted me to make this documentary film 1 month after my last treatment. A film that can help others to be inspired by check your bodies, listen to your bodies, be your own advocates for your own health, and also just how important it is to take care of your mental health. And so that prompted me to actually upgrade my iPhone to iPhone 14 Pro, and I started shooting in cinematic and with my iPhone. So I was traveling around California and Nevada, and I started talking to survivors. And I said, this is no script, just I want to hear your journey because I went through it really hard. I want to know, how did you cope with that? How were you able to go from the other side? So I have a lot of survivors came on board and they say, I want to talk. In the beginning, nobody wants to talk. But I found that that if you be able, I mean, of course, it's very personal journey and it's very vulnerable place to be. So especially as a female, the changes that happens in our body is not something that you really want to talk about. Hey, look, my scar, isn't that cute? No, we don't want to talk about these things. So it's very difficult for women to talk, but some women open up to me and they became part of the film. And then from there, I was able to get to Cedars-Sinai, which I interviewed doctors in Cedars-Sinai. I interviewed doctors in Kaisers. I interview Chinese specialists, acupuncturists that work with breast cancer survivors and patients. So the whole thing became from a little iPhone filming to a big production documentary feature film, which is going to be premiere on October 13. And also that prompts me to start my nonprofit organization, foundation for breast cancer, where I'm aiming to help, especially newly diagnosed women and men, because we do have 3% of men in this country have breast cancer. And so that's what prompts me to open that foundation so I can help, especially newly diagnosed with mental health and therapy. So I can talk about this for a long time. I don't know how much time you have, but I have a couple of days. So if you want to talk, but so I'm going to stop there. And what I'm going to do, I want to show you the trailer for the film that I'm producing. And it's only 3 minutes. And then we can jump to a presentation that I want to tell you a little bit more about the film and the foundation. Okay, there you go. Every minute, the life of countless women around the world are forever changed.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
I am a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
I am a survivor.
Every 14 seconds, somewhere in the world, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, which equals to 6,300 women a day. 2.3 million women each year. By the time you finish watching this 3-minute trailer, about 13 more women and their families will have their lives changed forever by breast cancer. Breast cancer casts a long shadow, but beyond the shadow, there is a light. Blossoming beyond, It's about stories of lives shattered and scarred to a newfound sisterhood and shining successes. Backed by compassionate doctors and innovative treatments, our courage radiates. Experts unite, nurturing body, mind, and spirit.
People who are isolated, they have higher recurrence rates. Or some people may have people around them, but they still feel like they are experiencing loneliness.
We don't say that we can make people cancer-free, but definitely can be a very good help to accompany their journey to fight.
Guided by wisdom, a sisterhood of resilience is forged. Every minute, lives are transformed by breast cancer. I'm one of those lives. My name is Galina Slavova, and as a survivor, warrior, champion, and a world-class athlete and actress, I have faced challenges, but none as profound as my fight with breast cancer. I created Blossoming Beyond to inspire women to listen to their bodies. Misdiagnosed initially, my journey taught me the power of self-advocacy. This film is for every woman, their families, their friends, and healthcare professionals who have been touched by breast cancer. As someone who has navigated this path alone, I aspire to be a beacon of hope and advocacy for all. We celebrate victories in our journey, marking resilience and rebirth. Our providers celebrate our progress and the unbeatable spirit of us as survivors. Our stories weave a legacy of hope, light paths for others. Blossoming Beyond is more than a film. It's a movement. It's a community. It's a sisterhood, a reminder for our collective strength, ready to blossom anew. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Do you guys have any feedback or any questions? Anything that you like to share?
I'm sure people will have some reactions. Galina, would you like to call on people as they raise their hand, or would you
Yes,
like us to?
I would like that. Yes, Hadia.
Okay, so just go for it.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. And that was my experience. I didn't have breast cancer, I had cervical cancer, and advocacy, mental health. I didn't find it in, like, I had to advocate for myself. And I found that there are doctors out there that are not for the patient. They try to treat me with fear, and I was like, nope, not doing that. So I released them and found a doctor who was advocating for me. And it just takes time, and it's important to put out there that we need to advocate for ourselves and do what feels right, especially when we're facing cancer and chemo, and ask a lot of questions. And I had family members, my niece would come with me and ask questions. And so it's really important to have advocacy. And then I had counseling every single day. I'm part of a counseling group. Every single day I would have a counseling session to help me get through it and keep my mental health in wellness, and to stay positive. That's really important, to stay positive as I was going through all this. So thank you for doing this, Galina. You're awesome.
Thank you, Hadia. Thank you. Yes, it's really important to take care of our mental health, and this was the biggest advocacy. Yes. Patricia.
Yes, as you know, I went through this, and the thing is, I had such an incredible group of doctors, my team. I had so much confidence in them. They were so professional. They gave me so much support that it was no doubt I was going to beat this. It really kept I had a positive attitude, but their support was really what kept me going. And as a matter of fact, they were mostly women, And so I thought it was pretty cool. And then I found out the plastic surgeon for reconstruction was going to be a man. And I said, oh, a man. And and one doctor, female doctor, said, don't worry, he's still okay. So that's interesting. We had this conversation in the 50s. It would be the other way around. But anyway, but also I was lucky to find a therapist after my treatment that went through this. So to have also a therapist that knew exactly what I was going through in the aftermath, it really helped me.
Yes,
Thank you, Galina, for doing this.
No, thank you, Patricia. Thank you. Yes, it's going back to the doctors, the whole team, my medical team was incredible also. And they knew I used to live in Puerto Rico, so every time I go to my radiation, they will play salsa inside in the radiation. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like, I don't want to even leave. I'm like, guys, I really love you and I will miss you, but I never want to see you again. Yes. Anyone else may have any questions and you want to share something? Well, in that case, I can just move to presentation so I don't take too much of your time. So you can get more information about the foundation and also
Well, so
yes.
oh yeah, I'm sorry. Is it you're continuing with the presentation then?
No. I can stop. I would like someone.
Okay, because yeah, you do have another half hour or so. So
Oh,
if
great. Okay.
you want to show more or and maybe then get reactions from people after you.
Yes. Okay. Well, I want to go to the presentation and every slide if someone wants to share some comments or maybe have any questions, because I'm sure there will be questions. I would like to stop and so just listen to whatever they have to share. Unless you want to talk more, if someone else wants to share a little bit more about their journey, if there is one, like Patricia. But I have a lot to tell you. So I think we have enough time. Actually, we need more time. So let's just get into it. And thank you so much for allowing me to doing that. Actually, pretty cool. Let me see. I learned this yesterday. So there you go. Okay. So the foundation is 501c3 nonprofit organization. This is me when I was in May 2023. And I don't want to go through the whole personal journey because we already talked about that. But this is me 2024, the same year, I mean, the same month, 1 year later. So for me was, because I used to do judo for 20 years, I think this fighter inside me and say, you know what, you need to get back. Your muscles will remember for the last 40 some years. So you need to get back to the gym. And then I felt actually guilty if I just relaxed at home. And you know what, I want to take a nap. I felt guilty because I always used to be on a go and do. And when I get cancer, I couldn't even walk. I was not able to walk for days and weeks. And that really put me in that motivation state to say, you know what, you can go back, you can exercise and just get better and, get back your health, which I did. I'm doing it. I mean, it's not 100%, but still I'm doing it. So we had a lot of publications and a lot of channels and a lot of newspapers and KTLA, Fox 5, and I'm very grateful for that. So from there, other publication, they wanted to talk to me, like Voyage LA and Shout Out LA. So a lot of publications. So I'm really grateful because that's mean I'm spreading the message and people wants to know about it. So I'm really happy about that. A little bit of statistics, and then we can go to questions if anyone has a questions. That women with breast cancer who lack social connections had a 70% increased risk of death. So this is what I really am advocating for, because isolation, which I had. I experienced that isolation and loneliness. It's not because I didn't have friends around me, I didn't have people around me that loves me, but it's just a very lonely journey. So you just experience without intentionally. So this is what one of my biggest advocacy for. Anyone has any questions or wants to ask me something, wants to share something? Okay, then we move on. So these are more statistics, and I will keep it on for a moment so you can read it, which is 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer. But also, I don't want to forget about men, because 3% of the men also has a breast cancer. And I can't share a lot of what I'm going to say, but it's because confidential. But I do have a male breast cancer survivor that is a very well-known man, that he is going to be part of the film, which is great because we can talk both a female and male perspective. Here we go. And so let me just move this from here. So while we are dedicated to increase awareness and importance of listen to one's body, and producing the original content, providing access to free one-on-one therapy for patients and survivors. And this is also one of my biggest advocacy for, because I didn't have that, and especially being a foreigner and not from this country and don't have my family around. And it was really hard to navigate through the system and know what to do, where to go. Because when you get diagnosed, they just give you a big folder with a lot of papers inside and say, read it all. And there is the support groups. But then it's like, this is the last thing you want to do. I read 30 papers or 40 pages when you know that you have a cancer. So it's really hard to navigate the system, especially finding people that can listen and therapy that are available to you. So this is my biggest advocacy, and this is what we are raising money for, to be able to provide therapy for patients and survivors, because there is an aftermath that we definitely need a therapy for, post cancer, because it's very different perspective we have. So I would say happier perspective than before. So creating safe peer-to-peer network, and also offering resources, which resources will be either we recommend some therapies, or there is let's say a group that we want to recommend, or some kind of resources that people can go on the website and say, I'm looking for this, and it's going to be one-stop shop for survivors and patients, but also for their families as well, if they don't know where to go. Like I had a lady last week, she called me and she said, I got your phone number from a friend of mine. My daughter just got diagnosed. She's 28 years old. Where do I go? Because she needs to go to freeze her eggs. And I had no idea where that resource is, but I knew someone who went through that procedure and that journey. So I say, would you mind if I connect you with that person? So when I say resources, it's just when you have the knowledge and information that you can provide to others. You guys have any questions? Anything you want to ask me?
Yes, Paul had a question.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So how important is a positive attitude and intention to healing? And do you have some examples?
Yes. This is an amazing question, and thank you so much for bringing this question. It's really hard to stay in a positive mood when you have cancer. It's really hard to accept the reality. This is your life right now, but it doesn't define you who you are. However, it was very hard to be like, you know what, it's a cancer, never mind. It's gonna go away. But in reality, it's very depressing. It's very dark. It's very negative. However, for me, I think because of being a fighter and being by myself, traveling for the last 25 years, I think I got this, I don't know, just positive attitude, because everything is, for me, I see as a detour. I call it a detour. The cancer was my detour. You know, just a little detour, a year detour, let's go back on a horse and start riding. But I remember when I was diagnosed, few weeks before I had my first surgery, I say, you know what, I feel like I have a lot of things to say, but I don't know who to say to, so I'm going to write it. So I wrote a poetry book and I published it, about feelings, about how you feel emotional. And then from there, I say, you know what, I think I should write a script about how I feel about. So I stay positive by kind of being occupied with something that makes me happy. So I stay positive by getting occupied by my passion, writing and reading. And I think that's what really helped me to stay positive in this very moment. Yes, because it was a very dark moment. I remember one time, excuse me, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I went across the park, across the building, there is a park, and I was barefoot in my pajama. I sat on the swing and I swing until the sunrise, because I had no idea what was happening with my mind, with my body. And I felt like I'm going crazy. I'm like in the park by myself, 4 a.m., barefoot in a pajama, singing. Like, you're going nuts. So how you actually stay positive on that? For me, it was support of my sister. To be honest, so she was my biggest support. Even she is 10,000 miles away from me. We were constantly on the phone, and she was my biggest support. She gave me this positive attitude. It's gonna be, you stay strong, you can do this. And it's just, I mean, of course, to hear you can do this, stay strong, is not something like, oh my God, yeah, that's exactly what I needed. But I think it was a choice to answer to your question, Paul. I think it was a choice. It was a choice to be negative and you go in a deeper hole, dark hole, or it was a choice to say, you know what, this is a detour. Let's get this sucker out of my body and just move on with your life. And I mean, unfortunately, I said the cancer for me was a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that I right now am in a position to be able to help so many people. And I hope I can do that with the film, with the foundation. And the curse, of course, that, you know, I got sick. But I think this is the short answer to your question. It was very long. Yes.
Okay, you have the next people with questions are Patricia and then Mary Grace.
Perfect.
Well, I wanted to comment about my attitude. What really helped me was knowing Buddhism and to stay in the moment. Of course, the diagnosis is a shock. It's something that happens to somebody else. It's something that you read in the news. It was hard to grasp. But then I focus on the solution, and even when the doctor said that I needed chemo and radiation, I got the bull by the horns, and I said, okay, I'm going to have a shaving party because I'm not going to lose my hair slowly. So I wanted to have a say in this journey that I didn't choose. And as you said, Galina, I took it as a detour. Eventually, I was going to go back to where I was going. And but for me, the hardest part was the chemotherapy, dealing with the side effects. And as I said, because I went into this mindful mode, taking each moment at a time, it helped me. I wrote each side effect as a wave, as if I were a surfer going to the shore, and just taking, as I said, each moment at a time. Otherwise, it's too overwhelming. And I realized that suffering is optional, and I chose to fight. Here I am.
Thank you.
Galina,
Yes,
My
hi.
mother died of breast cancer in the mid 1970s. She lived with a certain amount of depression, I think, throughout her life. In the mid 1960s, in those days, she had shock treatment on a couple of occasions. And then when she was about 60, the last of us 4 children left home, and it was like her purpose was now gone. She did not pick up on any sort of career after we kids left. And so I think even though she made some efforts, she went to the University of Louisville to take courses with a lot of people that were 40 years younger than she, but she came home excited about the courses and what she was learning. She was taking them without credit. But anyway, the basic question is your thoughts on the role of depression in cancer as one of, I'm sure, many causes of cancer.
Yes. Yes, I mean, it's interesting when I went to Cedar Sinai to interview Dr. Arash Asher. He is the director of cancer survivorship. And so what he talks about is that isolation is loneliness is a big factor of actually cancer patient to, to get, how to explain it, the mortality is very important that for us to be able to find, for me to be able, I found hobbies that I didn't know I had before. I found something that motivates me to get me out of this depression, because I did have a depression. And especially when my doctor called me that they found a second tumor, I collapsed. I was with a friend of mine and I collapsed. I don't remember anything because I just couldn't take the news. And that put me in a even a more depressed mode. But to your point, I think the loneliness and isolation is a big factor. And what I suggest to other people, I was not able to talk for about 7 months. I was ashamed. I felt I was a victim. I felt that I felt embarrassed. And I put clothes on every time I go to the bathroom to brush my teeth. I didn't want to look at myself because I was ashamed of the way I looked. But one day I don't know, I don't even know what prompted me to actually start talking about it and be a little bit more fearless of who I am. So I started looking at my scars as a warrior badges. I just put names on everything, the detour, the warrior badges, and then I took it as something, as an experience that I have to go through it. But at the same time, I felt that this was kind of my calling. I want to leave this legacy to be able to be known in the world as someone that I help one person. If that happened, that I'm okay. I can go happy.
Thank you. Yeah, your spirit is wonderful, and I'm sure that's a healing component. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. Thank you.
Yes, Galina, it looks like the next ones are from Afton, then Inger, and then Melanie.
Wonderful.
So okay, we have enough time. Go ahead.
Hi, Afton.
Yes, I'm a breast cancer survivor twice. I had it 12
God
years
bless.
apart. And the first time I had a lumpectomy and the second time a mastectomy. And I always had a positive attitude. I had incredible support from this group, specifically Mary, Grace, and Mim each came and sat with me for a day at my chemotherapy. And we were the only ones in the rooms that was kind of laughing and, just having a social time. But what I have not accepted even now is the loss of my breast. I've been really attached to my breasts. They've been very important to me. And I have a hard time looking at my scar. There's a woman named Dina Metzger who had a tattoo on her scar with a vine going down her arm. And she put it on the internet. She really was very beautiful. And I've been wanting to do that. It's kind of been on my intention. And it seems to me that may be a way of creating some beauty, where I just feel a lopsided emptiness now. But this group was a major social support for me, and I think it was for Patricia too. It's like we really shared openly, and I haven't shared about my not accepting, the lopsidedness and the loss of the breast. But yeah, I just wanted to share a bit of my story.
Thank you so much, Afton. No, I absolutely understand how much can take, especially as a female, to be able to accept our bodies the way it is right now. It's hard, and I can totally understand and relate to what you said. And thank you so much for open to share that.
What I did do was thank my breast for having nursed my son and having had a wonderful purpose. I wrote a dialogue with it, and that part I was able to do, to say it's really been a wonderful part of my life. That's not, that's past, and I have that memory and that feeling. So that was one way of dealing with it in a positive way.
It's interesting you said that, because I also talked to my cancer. I talked to her, I call it her, and we had a very long dialogue as well. Yes. And it's kind of a little bit of a relief when you actually be able to face it, even if it's just imaginary thing that you're facing, it is still there because you feel it in your body.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And the film looks beautiful. Just the quality of it, the way you put it together.
Thank you so much. And I filmed that in my iPhone.
I heard you say that. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Afton. Oh, Inger? Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so as a person who was with you when you first discovered and went through it, I just want to talk about how brave you were and how you just marched right in there. And I remember you first started talking about wanting to do something about helping other people, be able to not be so scared as you had been, etc. I can remember this beautiful, when you started photographing the women, that the way you did it, there was such a talent for allowing the person to really express himself. And so the film, you're going to really see a beautiful film, because she really managed to not intrude in the interviews, but just really allowing the persons to express their thoughts and their feelings. And so I believe it's a very unusual film in that way. It's done with such taste and such sensitivity. So it was a pleasure to be around to see that happen, and I was happy to be able to support it.
Thank you so much, Inger. Yes, well, Inger is a very dear friend of mine. It's actually, Inger is the reason I was invited to a women brunch group, where I met all these beautiful women, and then Mary Grace invited me to be part of this meeting today and to be able to present my journey. And thank you so much, both of you. And also, Inger is actually one of my co-executive producer on the film, and also contributor to the film, which is wonderful. And I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and that you stand behind me and believe in me and say, I believe. Well, the first time when I told you I'm doing this, you're like, okay, because you told me all the time you're doing so many things. And then when I was very persistent and start actually filming, Inger, you saw my vision and you believed in me and you supported me gratefully. And I'm really, really grateful and very, from the bottom of my heart, I love you and I thank you for believing in me.
Looks like Melanie has something to share.
Sure. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, Galina. I love your presentation so far. It's very inspiring, and of course, you and Inger are very inspiring.
Thank you.
going back a few people, when you were talking about, somebody asked you about depression, I guess Sam, about depression and how it affects. I had breast cancer diagnosis, and I immediately was guilty about the fact that there was some neglect, that I had responsibility for this happening to me, in the sense that I wasn't loving myself enough. And that was this big message that I got to myself, was that, I always do for other people, but I didn't take care of myself. And I was married at the time, and I immediately said, okay, I'm going to go through this. I went and rented a small apartment for at least a month. And I just said, I am going to go. I had a business in my house and all of that. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself well, and I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to heal myself. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on my well-being and really, really take care of me. And I had already been through taking care of my stepsister when she went through her mastectomy, and then my stepmother. And, I had been through other cancer experiences before, but I really get that, for me, it was a big awakening that nobody's going to do this for you. Nobody's going to do this. This is your journey. This is your responsibility. You got to take care of it. You got to love yourself, and you got to heal, whatever it means, from the beginning of that to the end of that. And that was my message. And I came out the other side as a much stronger, more confident woman. So I think, besides the loss and the fear that you go through, it's like many other experiences in life. You get to take something with you, even if you have to give something up. Mm-hmm. So you just want to share that. And I think this is really a worthy thing that you're doing, that you two are doing.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you so much. And yes, to go back to what you said very briefly, I also felt that it was my fault. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been an athlete for 35 years. I ate right. I exercise every day. How did that happen? What did I do wrong? It's kind of, you start blaming yourself. That's kind of your fault. But it's not. No one is guaranteed. And so it's not your fault. I actually wrote it in a lot of stickers around my house, and I wrote it, I'm healing, I'm beautiful, I'm healing, I'm beautiful. So everywhere I go, I just read that and kind of manifesting it, because I'm huge in manifestations. Manifestation for me is everything. I will manifest, like I would say, I'm going to go to bed and I'm all night, I'm going to manifesting this. And that's exactly what I do. So, the choice also to be able to stay positive, but also you have to have this, also your own encouragement, not only other people to say, hey, you're going to be okay, you'll be fine, but if it has to comes with you, from you, you have to be, it starts with you and stops with you, to have that your own encouragement. And thank you so much for sharing.
Can I go next?
Or Thomas Griggs wanted to share.
Yes.
Oh,
thank you. Just very briefly, I heard you say, and I want to acknowledge that the cancer, breast cancer, doesn't just affect the patient, it affects the whole family. Changed the course of my life when my daughter was diagnosed and went through double mastectomy and chemo and everything, because she had a 1-year-old toddler in her care, and I became a nanny. So it changed the course of my life for really essentially a 2-year period, which I'm very grateful for. I just wanted to remember all the family members that are also impacted, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Thomas, and for just to add something for what you said. I didn't understand how much people around you can be affected, because when you're diagnosed, you kind of, this is me, I'm gonna have to do this alone, or just it's so many things going through your mind, so you don't want to bother other people around you. And kind of be a burden for them. But I remember, for what you said, I remember I went to Bulgaria for a couple of weeks and I didn't even tell my family, only my sister knew. After 8 months, my family didn't even know. Because, so I went through this with only my sister, who was 10,000 miles away. And I said, you know what, I'm going to tell my parents, because I'm doing a movie, so eventually they're going to find out. So they better find out from me. Instead of just watching the movie, say, wait a minute. The reason I didn't want to tell them is because I didn't want to put this burden on them, because they are not in the best shape and, you know, in their life, and they're not as healthy as they used to be. So I didn't want to give them more reasons to worry. But I sat them down and I talked to my sister and I said, this is the time that we're going to tell them. So I did tell them, and the Bulgarian family is very dramatic. So it's like Italians, it's very dramatic. It's, you know, very loud. And so I expected that. But my sister came to me and she said, you're doing the movie and I want to be part of it. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, how? She said, I want to talk about how I felt and what I went through when you were diagnosed. I'm like, but what do you mean? She said, the place that I went was so dark that knowing that I may lose you, that I was not able to eat, to sleep, and I was not able to tell to my parents because they didn't know anything, not to my son, to her husband. So she said, what I went through without even knowing, it really affected me. So we don't think of it when we are going through this. We don't think of it a lot of times what other people are going through. And that's why in my film, I have her, but also, and some of the survivors, they wanted to bring their family member to talk about how they felt. And I was just like, oh my God. I think in my case, my sister was more affected than I was affected, because I'm like, yes, come on, let's go. Get this out, let's move on. And I had no idea how she went through it by herself, actually, not be able to talk to anybody. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I can't even imagine, and especially in your case, being is a life-changing experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Patricia?
Yeah, when you were thanking Inger, I remember I came up with this saying that says, friends make the impossible possible.
Mm-hmm.
And fighting cancer, making a film, a foundation, everything. But what Afton said, it reminded me of how I felt during treatment. In ancient Rome, there were gladiators and women gladiators. I cannot pronounce it very well. Gladiatrix. The women gladiators fought bare-breasted, topless. So they had a lot of scars in their breasts. So I consider myself a female gladiator, but I still am negotiating in this love-hate relationship with the scars. It's such a important part in a woman's body that it's the daily thing, actually, in this relationship. Still struggling with it. And yes. The other aspect I wanted to say is the importance of support. I met this group when I finished treatment. I wish I knew all of you during treatment, but I never felt alone. I had a lot of support, and even during chemotherapy, I was talking with my family using WhatsApp, and I felt very supported. So that was huge.
Could we stop screen share so we could see everybody?
Yeah, of course, yes. Absolutely. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Yeah, you do much better.
Okay, well, I guess I was finishing up. So the image of the female gladiator is what kept me going. Honestly, I will walk away from the Colosseum with scars, but I'll walk away.
Yes, that is beautiful. But yeah, it's tough on a female's body. I remember I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna date ever again. Just put it out there. I'm like, how I'm gonna do that? I just cover myself with everything. And but I start calling that we are thrivers, champions, warriors, and that's the warriors batches. And so I'm very proud of showing it and exposing it now in this time of my life, and especially doing this documentary and the foundation, because I don't feel ashamed anymore. I don't feel embarrassed anymore. I feel that I'm actually stronger than I used to be. I'm back in my shape. I exercise, I work out, but I understand what you're saying, because it's always going to be there to remind us how strong we are. Because you're only strong when you have no other choice but being strong. This is when you know how strong you are. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just a one-liner, really. In the mid-1980s, I worked in a government-funded community mental health center, and the state of California that year had a motto for the mental health services, and it was "Friends can be good medicine." And I think it's a great attitude to have.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, for me, I was not a group person. I didn't like to share my feelings in the group setting. And when they say, there is a cancer support group, and I went in one, and I'm like, this is not my thing. I don't think I like that. But then when I start actually going to the women's brunch group, I share. And that's what I feel comfortable to share with you guys, that my journey. And I felt that we are friends, that we support each other, and it gives me so much strength. And today, I mean, I would never be able to do that, to share this journey and so publicly and open, and unless you allow me to and make me feel comfortable to be part of this. And I thank you so much for that. Yes, it definitely is a big factor when you have people around you that loves you and supports you and believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you, Galina. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're kind of at the end here. So I guess if there's any follow-up comments, maybe you can put your contact info so that people will know how to reach you.
I
Yes.
will send out your information to our group, Galina. My hope is that you join us. I know it's early for you, but
oh my God, thank you so much, you guys, having me here. That was wonderful. Really
absolutely
wonderful.
powerful, inspirational morning. Thank you so much.
Brilliant job. Brilliant job.